Hello, dear students. Today we are going to learn about simple present, affirmative, negative, and interrogative. Before to start, we have to remember the personal pronouns. Remember the personal pronouns. There are 8 personal pronouns. The first is I. The second, you. The third person is he, she, it. The first person in plural, we. The second person in plural, you. And the third person in plural, they. After the personal pronouns, we have to learn frequency adverbs. In frequency adverbs, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this case, they are some common, but there are more frequency adverbs. For example, here we have others. Always, usually, frequently, often, sometimes, occasionally, rarely, seldom, hardly ever, and never. Okay, but here there are only 6. Never, sometimes, often, usually, and always. Next, we have to learn the verbs. There are many verbs, many actions that you do. Okay, but here I only have 10. For example, the first is get up. Oh, this is not here. Get up. Okay, get up. Next is wash TV. For example, this is wash TV. Have breakfast. Do homework. Dress up. Sleep. Brush your teeth. Take a shower. This case is pray. Pray to God and go. This is go. Go to park, go to the cinema. Next, we have to learn here about the simple present. In the simple present, I am going to divide the personal pronouns into groups. The first group is I, you, we, they. The second group is he, she, it. In the first group, I, you, we, they, we have to use the verb in the same way. For example, the verb have breakfast. This is the verb, no? Have breakfast. With this, I, you, with they, it's the same, have breakfast. They sometimes have breakfast at 10:30 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. Or maybe say, you have breakfast. I have breakfast. We have breakfast. The other sentence is about the verb take a shower. You usually take a shower. I take a shower. We take a shower. They take a shower. We often brush our teeth at 10:15 in the morning. We often brush our teeth. I brush my teeth. They brush their teeth. You brush your teeth. I always get up at 7 o'clock. You always get up. We always get up. They always get up. And the other personal pronoun, for example, he, she, it. In this case, we have to consider some rules. When it's he, she, it in affirmative, we have to consider some rules. The first rule is when the verb finishes with ch, o, x, double s, sh, s, we have to add the letter es. When the verb finishes with consonant and the letter y, you have to change the letter y by the letter I and add es. And the verb have, you have to change here by the other has. Have, has. For example, the first sentence. I never has. I never has. I can say have. For example, in the other say, they sometimes have breakfast. But when it's he, she, they say he never has breakfast. The other, for example, she hardly ever takes. In this case, takes finish with the letter E. You don't find here the letter E in this rule. When you don't find the letters in the according to the rules, you only have to add the letter S. Takes a shower. He often brush finish with sh. For the reason I only add here es. We often brush. In this case, he often brushes our teeth at 8:15 in the morning. I always get up. No, excuse me. It always gets up at 9 o'clock. And the other is about the verb study. Study finishes with the letter Y, but before it's a consonant, it's the letter D. But the reason I change the letter Y by the letter I, in this case, change that, and add yes, and studies English on Friday. Okay, again, simple present. In affirmative, I divide it into groups. I, you, we, they is the first group. He, she, it is the second group. In the first group, the verb is the same. Take, have, take, brush, and get up. But in the second group, you have to consider some rules. This is the rules that you have to consider. You have to memorize this. He, she, it is about these rules. For example, has, because the rules say has. Takes, because when you don't find here the rules, you only add the letter S. Takes. Brush, SH. Gets, because T isn't here. For the reason I only add the letter S. Gets. Study. Study finished with the letter Y. For the reason I change that for IES. Say studies. Okay, this is affirmative. And negative. In negative, we have to consider two words to say no in Spanish. There are two words to say no. Doesn't or does not. Do not or don't. Does not, doesn't. Do not, don't. For example, I want to say, she doesn't have lunch at 3 p.m. The verb here is the same. You only change the verb when it's affirmative, but when it's negative, the verb is the same. She doesn't have lunch at 3 p.m. He doesn't study on Sunday. My pet doesn't go to the park on Thursday. When it's I, you, we, they, I use the word do not or don't. For example, I don't have breakfast at 10 a.m. You don't dress up at 10 a.m. In the first, again, I don't have breakfast at 7 a.m. You don't dress up at 10 a.m. We don't sleep at midnight. They don't study on Saturdays. Okay. Again, negative. In negative, I have to consider doesn't when it's he, she, it, don't when it's I, you, we, and they. The verb is the same. Don't change the verb. The verb is the same. Now we have to continue with interrogative. In interrogative, we have to use W question. For example, what, where, when, who, whose, why, how, what time. And the auxiliary. The auxiliary in simple present, there are two, do and does. Do, I, you, we, they, and does, he, she, it. For example, I can say, do you study English? In this case, I have to use the word do because it's you. Do you study English? Your possible answer is say, yes, I do, or maybe no, I don't. But you can use the W question too. For example, the same question but with W question. Why do you study English? My answer is because it is important. Okay, so there are two ways to say an interrogative sentence. You can use the auxiliary, direct the auxiliary, or maybe you can use W questions. There are two ways to say questions. The other is about does. Does work with he, she, it. For example, I can say, does she do her homework in the afternoon? Maybe your answer is, yes, she does, or maybe, no, she doesn't. The other is when you use W question. In this case, I use the word when. When does he go to the cinema? Your possible answer is say, he goes, because goes, this is affirmative. Remember, when it's affirmative, we have to follow some rules. He goes on that week, Wednesdays. Okay? Interrogative, the verb is the same. Interrogative, the verb is the same. But when yes, affirmative, my verb have to change here. Okay? Next. Here I have some examples about this person. The question is, who is she? I use here the verb to be. She is Shakira. She is 35 years old. She's married. She is in Madrid. She has because remember about the rules. When he, she, it, you have to follow some rules. She has long hair. She has brown eyes. She has brown eyes. She has 2 children. She doesn't have brown hair. No, she has blonde hair. She doesn't have brown hair. The other question is, does she have an easy day? Here is an, no a. An, I forgot the letter N. Does she have an easy day? She always gets up. Gets, because it's affirmative. I have to add the letter S. She always gets up at 7 a.m. She sometimes takes a shower from 10 a.m. to 7 a.m. She usually goes, because remember the rules, to work until 2 p.m. She often sleeps at 12 a.m. She doesn't, because it's negative, she doesn't go to the gym at midnight. In this case, the word go, when it's negative, it's the same. She doesn't study. She doesn't study. Remember, when you use the auxiliary in interrogative, the verb is the same. When you use the auxiliary in negative, the verb is the same. You only have to change the verb when it's affirmative. When it's affirmative. Okay? Okay, I am going to review. In simple present, we have to use personal pronouns and frequency address. We have to consider here the verbs, and we have to divide it the personal pronouns into groups. The first group, I, you, we, they, and the second group, he, she, it. When it's affirmative, I have to consider the rules. These rules is only for he, she, it. In negative, we have to remember 2 words, doesn't and don't. Doesn't when it's he, she, it, and don't when it's I, you, we, they. The verb is the same. Don't have to change the verb. The verb is the same. And interrogative, we have to consider W questions, for example, what, where, when, who, whose, why, how, what time. And the auxiliary do when it's I, you, we, they, and does when it's he, she, it. Okay, this is all. Okay, this is all. Okay, this is all about the simple present.